What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're here today. Haven't been here in a minute. It's my fault. But we're back. We have the draft tomorrow. I wanted to come and give you guys my top 50 prospects for the draft heading into tomorrow. I'm gonna drop a mock draft for you guys tomorrow, right before the draft. But let's get into it. First, so I'm going to start from 50 to 1. 50. Linebacker C.J. Allen, out of Georgia. I like his skill set. I think he could go around that range, 40 to 50, so that's how he jumped into my top 50. 49, Maxie and Onshore. This guy needs to work on some things. Obviously, was seen with Mike Vrabel at his pro day. I think he's going to go at pick 31 to the Patriots. I just think him personally working out with Vrabel just gives me too much to say he's just going to go. He's just going to go there. 48, Zion Young, edge rusher out of Missouri. Bigger defensive end. Give me a second here. Bigger defensive end, 6'6". Size, he's got the size. Overall, I don't think he's the best defensive end in this draft by any means. I think there's going to be a run of edge rushers between the first and second round. And I think he's going to go on day 2. 47, wide receiver Antonio Williams. Antonio Williams out of Clemson. Obviously, Clemson did not have a fantastic year. But I think just the way he reads the field, the way he gets open, and his usage with not only his size that he could have within the slot, but also his speed, his 4.4 speed. I think he would be a very good pick. I think a lot of people would. I think I'm higher on Antonio Williams than most, but I could definitely see him going within the top 50, maybe 50 to 60. But I think he should definitely be there within the first 2 rounds. 46, Jeremy Bernard, another wide receiver, out of Alabama. Dude came over with Kellen DeBoer, and just honestly balled out. He was essentially the centerpiece of that wide receiver core last year at Bama. Stepped up when other guys had issues, like Ryan Williams had his dropping issues because of the way he uses his hands. And he honestly just stepped up. And he was a big guy that helped Ty Simpson when Ty Simpson was going on that run where he looked like the best quarterback in all of college football. 45, corner out of South Carolina, Brandon Sisse. Excuse me. Earlier in the year, before Combine and everything, if you had asked me where I had Brandon Sisse, it was probably at pick 16. I just don't see it within his film. Like, obviously, I think he's a fantastic player. There's no hit on him. But just comparing his film to other corners' films within this draft, I think he's just a notch lower than some of the other corners that I'm very high on. So that's why he's technically low on my top 50 list. 44, a guy who I've been high on for a very long time, Jennings Dunker. Crazy mullet. I think he's only this low and not projected to go so high in the draft because he's very scheme oriented. He needs to go to a specific team. I think a team like the Seahawks, he would fit very well. Also, Denver, I think he would fit very well with. So I think that's why he's not like a first round projected player. But I definitely expect to see him early on day 2. 43, Christian Miller, defensive tackle out of Georgia. My second Georgia player in my top 50. First was C.J. Allen, now it's Christian Miller. Christian Miller's just a big body up front. Has the size. He's 6'4", 320. It's prototypical size you want for a defensive tackle. Elite at stopping the run. Has, I guess, a little bit of issues with his arm length because they're only 33 inches. But I think he'll be fine. I mean, out of this whole draft, I don't expect anybody to really be like that. Oh, we drafted him. We expect him to be our cornerstone player for the next 5 to 10 years. I just don't see that really within this draft. Like, obviously, like Mendoza, quarterback. Jeremiah Love, maybe. Like, maybe Caleb Downs, Arvell Reese. Like, just the top guys. I don't see Christian Miller being a guy who's going in the top 10, and you have to expect him to play at a very high level. You take Christian Miller at the end of the first round, or you take him in the early second round, and you get a guy who's going to play alongside somebody else and produce. That's what I see from him. 42, D'Angelo Pons. All I got to say is this guy is a dog. I wish he was like 2 inches taller. If he was 2 inches taller, we would be talking about him going in the top 10. This guy was probably one of the best corners in college football. An entire defense was built around him. I've never seen that. An entire defense built around a 5'8" corner playing the outside because he just stopped the entire field. He was willing to outwork any single player on the field. It was insane. The year he had with Indiana, absolutely insane. And that's why he's in my top 50. If he was 2 inches taller, he'd be in my top 10 easy. But that concern on whether or not he's going to be able to stick at the outside at the next level is why he's lower on my board. 41, Jadarian Price. There's not a crazy amount of film on him. He was a backup to obviously the best running back in college football, Jeremiah Love. So, obviously, he didn't get a crazy amount of playing time. I think just he naturally didn't get it. But when he did play, it was great. So, that's what jumped him up. Obviously, like, in my opinion in this draft, there's 2 starters, potentially 3 on how teams draft Mike Washington Jr. If he's drafted to the right spot, into a spot that has an opening at running back or the potential to be an opening soon, I think he could be a starter like very early. But I think like starter right out of the gate is Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price, and that's it. Number 40, guard Chase Bisontis. Out of Texas A&M, they had one of the best fronts in all of college football. Obviously had a terrible game against Miami. Ruben Bain and Akeem Messidor just blew everything up. But he's big. 6'6", 320 6'6", 320 for a guard. Really big. He came in from right tackle. He was all SEC third team in 2025. It was his best season. I think just the way he run blocks is where everything comes into play for him. Like it all like clicks. Needs to work on the pass blocking a tiny bit, but overall I think it's not the end of the world as a guard. Obviously has shorter arms. If any of you have like looked into him, he has shorter arms, like 31 and a half or something, 31 and a quarter. I'm looking at it right now. Definitely has shorter arms. That's why he made the move from tackle to guard. Knowing he has the versatility to potentially move outside for a team, like if you need him to come into a game for an injury or like anything, he can come in and play tackle for you for a game. He can play tackle for you for half a season. He has the experience there. But obviously you don't want him as a full-time tackle because it just will not work out. He's obviously much better at guard. And I think he's the third best guard for me in this draft. Second or third? He's third. He's the third. Third best guard for me in this draft. So, Chase Basanis at number 40. 39. Defensive tackle, Lee Hunter. Lee Hunter, out of Texas Tech, was a monster. Shot up draft boards. Senior Bowl, dominant. He was dominant at the Senior Bowl. Obviously didn't have a great, I can't remember if it was combine. I think it was combine. Yeah, he had a decent, like, not great combine testing wise, but like everything else, like he looked decently fluid. Some people have him as their top defensive tackle in this draft. I personally don't. I have him as my third best defensive tackle, but any of those three are interchangeable. So Lee Hunter at 39. 38, we got TJ Parker, defensive end out of Clemson, edge rusher. I think he will fit in both 3-4 and 4-3 systems. So I think that versatility bumps him up a lot. But also, he's been a first-round graded player for years now. Now, like, all of Clemson did not have a great year. But there was flashes last year, but, like, more specifically, that 2024 season was where he like, balled out. Him and Peter Woods, both. Let me do a look at the stats. 11 sacks in 2024. Yeah, obviously dropped down to 5 last year. But that 2024 season, he looked good. He most likely would have gone to the draft last year if he was eligible. And I think he would have been a first or second round pick. And I think he's still a first or second round pick this year. I don't see many flaws in his game necessarily. I think obviously he just needs to stay consistent and just get into the right system. 37, wide receiver, Denzel Boston. I think there's going to be a decent run on wide receivers through the first and second round. And I think Denzel Boston is going to be one of those guys that are going to go in the late first or very early second. Huge, 6'4" out of Washington. Jump ball receiver. I think he needs to work on, like, the catch point a little bit. And a little bit of his just, like, overall route running. But when you're that big, you don't need to have the route running that other players do. So I think that's fine. I just think he needs to work on, like, the, like, aggressive catch at the catch point. Like, throwing his hands at the ball, getting the ball, taking it. If it's, like, if the corner happens to get his hands in there, like, making sure he gets it, having strong hands. I think he just needs to work on that a little bit. 36. Was the best linebacker in football last year. Jacob Rodriguez, an absolute turnover machine. Got a Heisman vote, like, for the amount of turnovers he forced last year. Let's just go back to 7 forced fumbles, 1 sack, 4 interceptions. 4 interceptions and 7 forced fumbles from a middle linebacker spot. A lot of teams are going to be looking for that production. And I think he will help out any team he goes to, elevate anybody around him. And I think that'll alleviate a lot of the pressure on some defensive linemen. 35. Honestly could be my favorite player in this whole draft. I've said it before. I'm so high on this guy. Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson at San Diego State. Obviously, San Diego State's not a school you typically would think to go draft from. Not great competition playing New Mexico, San Jose State, Boise State. Boise State without Ashton Genty. So not playing bigger schools. But this last season had 4 interceptions, had a sack out of the corner position, a forced fumble, had an overall good Senior Bowl, but I think his testing is where he really showed out at the combine. His size is great, and then he has a 4.4 speed, almost a 40-inch vertical, has good strength, a very good broad jump. Just overall has the speed, but I think the best part about him is how good he is in coverage and how smart he is in both man and zone coverage. Just watching his tape, it stuck out to me how good he was in reading his zone and then switching to man and just being able to stay with any man he was with. And that just jumped out to me. So I have Chris Johnson here at 35. I really hope he gets taken in the first round. But if he goes second round, I would not be surprised at all. He could potentially go at the end of the second round, just depending on how the board falls. So he's kind of like a weird variable factor of where he's going to go in this draft. But I have him at 35 in my draft board. 34. Another guy I've been very high on. Malachi Lawrence. I think a lot of teams are starting to get onto this guy. Hey, he's a top-end talent. I've been seeing the 49ers could take him at 27. I don't like the 49ers. I hope he doesn't go there, just because I think he's such a good player that I don't want them getting more good players. But 6'4", 250, not going to be the biggest edge rusher in the world, but definitely has that bend that you want. And yeah, he's got the speed. Ran a 4.5, 40-inch vertical, 10-10 broad. He's an athlete, obviously. A great athlete. Let's check his stats real quick. Last year, he had 7 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 pass deflections, 28 tackles. The year before, 5 sacks. So that's pretty consistent. 7.5, and then 0.5 when he barely played. But the years he played, he had good production. I don't think it's elite production. I think he has elite traits that are going to give you a lot of upside. And that's why I'm so high on him, is his upside. So, 34, Malachi Lawrence. Almost halfway through here. 33. A lot of teams are getting very high on this guy, and I like it. Amar Cooper Jr. out of Indiana. Obviously had that great catch against Penn State. Was his foot in. He is amazing at the catch point. And you can use him anywhere. Anywhere on the field you can use this guy. You can put him on the outside. You can put him in the slot. Like, just looking at his traits, his worst thing is his size. And then, like, his physicality. And I think that physicality part is just wrong. This guy wants to be on the field. He wants to block. Just overall is great. A great player. Last year at Indiana, almost 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns. Got a little bit in the run game. Was just overall used everywhere in that Cignetti offense. And if the Raiders went and tried to get him and pair him back up with Mendoza, that would be insane. That would be great. But Omar Cooper Jr. at 33. 32, another wide receiver that I'm very high on, Casey Concepcion. I hate that Casey Concepcion is, like, the way people have been talking about him, like, making fun of his stutter. I hate that. It's so stupid. Like, get a life. This dude is a baller. Obviously, he had a great year at Texas A&M. His one issue is a catching problem, and a lot of people speculate it's because of the way he uses his hands. And I think as soon as you get him into that NFL room, NFL weight room, NFL practice field, everything, they're going to fix that. They're going to tell him, like, hey, use your hands this way. Make sure you're doing this. So that's not an issue for me. I think he's going to go, like, in the 20s. I just don't think he's, like, a top 20 player, even if there wasn't three or four wide receivers ahead of him. So, yeah, 32 for Casey Concepcion. 31, a guy who I mentioned before when I was talking about Chase Basantis, Akeem Messidor. Akeem Messidor is older. He's 25. He's going to be 25 at the beginning of the season. Obviously, a lot of teams take that into account, and that probably has caused his draft stock to take a little bit of a hit. I think he's a great player. He had a lot of opportunities, I think, because of having Ruben Bain on the other side. So I think he needs to go to a team that has other pieces. And I think that goes for a lot of players. Like, I'm not saying I'm not taking a hit on him because he needs another player on the opposite side of him. Every player needs a player on the opposite side of them to take off some of that pressure. But I think, like, a team like the Lions that are looking for an edge rusher opposite of Agent Hutchinson, that would be a perfect spot. Like, just teams that have, like, that big-time guy on the other side that just take up, like, you have to double him, and Akeem Messidor's going to eat. He's going to eat. So, yeah. Akeem Messidor at 31. 23 minutes in here. 30. Going back to the offensive side of the ball. Emmanuel Pregnon. I think since his combine and like right before the combine, he kind of started to drop a little bit in where he was projected to go. I've always been saying, like, the Chargers at 22 would be a perfect spot for him. And I think that's still true, but I don't know if he goes that high anymore. I think he goes early second round now. Overall, I think he had a pretty good combine. I didn't see his pro day, but at the combine, didn't run great. But everything else was good. Arm length's fine, whatever. Height's fine. He's a great player, has great tape. Let's see. College football impact real quick. He was ranked 11th in the country in college in impact scores for offensive line with a 91.7. So, it's pretty good. 29. Cassius Howell. Texas A&M product. That Texas A&M defense was really good. That Texas Tech defense was insane. But Cassius Howell out of A&M, very good player. Very short arms. I think he could potentially come in at the end of the first round. I think he's more of a second round guy, in my opinion. Just because those arms. Now, I don't think the arms are that big of a deal for him. The arms are more of a big deal for Ruben Bain. Because Ruben Bain uses more power rush moves. He's more of that, like, if you play Madden and you're drafting a player, Ruben Bain is a power rusher. Cassius Howell is a speed rusher. Speed rushers don't really need that much of arm length because they're not using their arms to engage with the offensive tackle. They're more trying to use bend and all that, and I think that's all there with Cassius Howell. And he has the speed to get around and beat these offensive tackles. So I think putting him in a system, like a 3-4 system for him, would be great. You have 3 big defensive linemen, and then you send him off the edge. I think that works out for him. So I have him at 29. 28. This is a guy who's not going to go this high. He potentially goes end of second round, maybe even into the third round because of injury concerns. Caleb Banks, defensive tackle out of Florida. Dude is a monster. Monster. 6'6", 330, 35-inch arms. Ran a 5.04. 32-inch vertical at 6'6", 330. Probably one of the best combine performances from a defensive tackle I've seen since Jordan Davis. It's insane. He's a wrecking ball. That's what I see from him. Just a straight wrecking ball. In the pass rush, he has a lot of roll tools. Obviously needs to be developed like most players, but if he can stay healthy and get his foot right, he will be one of the best players in this draft. I promise. He was so close to being a blue chip prospect for me. It was so insane. The only thing holding him back was the injuries and not having like a crazy amount of playing time because of those injuries. A big issue, or a non-issue I see, is he wants to play football. I love that from guys. Guys who I know love the game. And Caleb Banks is one of those guys. So we have him at 28. 27, Avion Terrell. His brother is on the Falcons. He is just now coming into the league out of Clemson. He's going to stick at the slot. I think, honestly, if he had developed those outside traits, I think he could have been a much higher, like, stouted, like, looked at player. But he didn't because of his size, which is perfect. Perfectly fine. That's what's best for him. So he took it. Obviously, another Clemson guy. This is my, third Clemson guy in my top 50 so far, and we're 23 guys in, 24. I have more. He's my fourth. He's my fourth. Wait. He's my third or my fourth. I have more. A lot of Clemson guys in here. I don't know how they were so bad. But Avion Terrell had a great combine. Oh my God, that combine was great. He, the only reason he won't go in the first round, or if he doesn't go in the first round, I don't want to say he won't, because he definitely could. The only reason I would see him potentially not going in the first round is because teams are just valuing, like, offensive and defensive line more than corners. And I think that's, like, a big thing in this draft. I think there's going to be a run on offensive tackles. There's going to be a run on edge rushers. And then you have this defensive tackle group, which I think is very top-heavy. But is definitely very good. So, Avion Terrell, I hope he goes first round, but I think he might go early second. Next up, offensive lineman, Caleb Lomu. He's kind of like him and Ian Achor is great, but he's not like a top guy for me. I think Lomu's kind of that like end of the top guys. Went to Utah, played with Spencer Fano. He's going to be a true tackle. He's one of two true tackles, like gonna stick at tackle no matter what in this draft. Him and Monroe Freeland. And Blake Miller. So three guys. At least. But he played great at Utah. They had a great duo over there. And Fano can play anywhere on the offensive line, but then you have Caleb Lomu, who can solidify and be that, like, elite left tackle. And I think a lot of teams are going to look for that, especially at the left tackle position, which is way more highly sought after than compared to right tackle. But Caleb Lomu there, locking in at my 26th spot. 25 here, we have another offensive tackle. Absolute freak of nature in size in Caden Proctor and athleticism. 33-inch vert, 9'1" broad jump. He's like 6'7". He was 350 at one point. I think he lost a little bit of weight for the combine and everything. But he is huge. Obviously, when you're that big, your knees are an issue. You're not as flexible. You can't move as much. So that's like a big thing. But like apparently he might be able to move in a guard. Like if a guy at 6'7", 350 is moving into guard from playing tackle his whole career, I don't even know. I think I've been hearing a lot of things about the Lions. Like Proctor won't get past the Lions, which is very possible because they need a left tackle. So I think he sticks at tackle, at least for now. Like unless something happens in the future, but I think he sticks at tackle. Into the top 25, 24. Here we go with the defensive line again. Peter Woods, another Clemson guy. I think he had like a down year specifically because he lost weight. Because he's just getting adjusted to his body. Great player, obviously showed it in 2024. He's going to be more of like a 3-tech. Not going to be like that nose tackle type of guy. Is honestly going to fit more in like a 4-3 defense where he's going to have a guy next to him rather than trying to play nose tackle. And I think he's just too big or too slow to go off the edge in a 3-4. So any team that has like a 4-3 is kind of a defense that I would look to see where he's drafted. At one point he was a potential number 1 pick because before the season. And now we're talking about maybe he goes in the second or maybe he falls out of the first. So that's kind of crazy with how, I guess that's like how bad Clemson was. So, I have him at 24. 23, a guy who's always been like this top guy. Like, everybody thinks he's this top guy. Everybody views him as this top guy. He has the size. He has everything you could possibly need, but just never was able to make it click. Like, never been able to become that top guy in college. Keldrick Falk. I hope he figures it out wherever he goes. I really do. He never led Auburn in TFLs. He never led Auburn in sacks. Not one time did he. In all of his time with Auburn, 2 sacks last year, 7 sacks in 2024, 1 sack in 2023. Obviously, 2024 he had a much better year compared to 2025. Took a little bit of a down step. I think that played in with how bad Auburn was. But, like, I don't know how he has not led them in TFLs or sacks or anything in one single season with, like, his measurables. Hopefully that works out in the NFL. I think that's why he's been falling down draft boards. Like, he was a top 10 pick, and now he's, like, 20s. So, we'll see. 22 on my board. We have... We have Blake Miller. Is this my... I think he is my last Clemson guy. I think he is. I think, like, honestly, thank God, we're finally done with the Clemson guys. But Blake Miller, I really like him. I think his experience throughout college has been something that I really like. Like, Monroe Freeling has been shooting up draft boards because he's like a freak of nature. Like, just his athleticism and everything. But he only has 1 season starting. Like, Blake Miller has similar testing. Like, maybe, like, a little worse testing. But he has the experience. And that's what I like. I like that experience. Like, honestly, if I was a GM right now, and I was drafting, and I had to pick between Monroe Freeling and Blake Miller, that is the main conversation I'm bringing up, is the difference in time started, games played, because that's what translates to the NFL. Seeing the games played and having the film and stats to back that up, but that experience is what translates to the NFL. 21, corner, Colton Hood out of Tennessee. It's like, I wish Jermod McCoy was healthy this year, just so I could have watched Colton Hood and Jermod McCoy on the same field at the same time. Transferred in from Colorado. How long ago did he go? Yeah, so he was at Auburn as a freshman, goes to Colorado, and then goes to Tennessee and balls out. Becomes maybe, like, potentially a top 3 to 5 corner in college football in 1 season with how locked down he was. It's just insane to me how good Tennessee has been at, like, developing those corners. Because you had Jermod McCoy be the best corner in all of college football 2 years ago. Obviously suffers that unfortunate knee injury. And then you have Colton Hood come in and be the best corner. It's just insane to me. 20. Another defensive guy. Moving to a lot of Ohio State guys coming up. Caden McDonald. This guy, like, I'm looking at him, like, his size is not the greatest, but he's just a dog. He balls out. He's, yeah, I think he's gonna be a great pass rusher. He's gonna be a great pass rusher at the defensive spot. His run blocking or run defending is something like, honestly, what am I saying? He should be way better at run defending right now. 3 sacks last year, nothing in the first year, nothing in the second year. I think he's just gonna like cause havoc, like blow up double teams. I think he goes and plays a 1 nose tackle, 1 tech, like shoots the a gap, like plays a 1 or a 2 tech. Like, I think he's that area. I think he's probably the closest thing to a nose tackle in this draft that we have. And I don't want to, like, say, hey, he's going to go and get all these sacks and, like, produce as a pass rusher, or he's going to go and be the best run stuffer or whatever. But I think he has the potential and the raw power to do that, and in the right system that can be developed. 19, guy who I just was talking about, Monroe Freeling. Obviously, I said I would like Blake Miller more because of his, what's it called? Game started and all this, but I just, all that stuff for him, that he had a 9.99 RAS score for the combine. Like, that is insane. 4.93, 9.7 broad jump, 1.7 10-yard split, 33-inch vertical, almost 6'7.5", 34.5 3/4 arms, 10 3/4 hands. This guy is a monster. Now, I watched him at Georgia, and there's definitely a lot to work on with his footwork. And I think that happens with guys who are like 6'7", 6'6", 6'7", 6'8". They need some help with their footwork over time, and I think he's a guy who needs to work a little bit there. I'm going to try to hurry this up a little bit. We're at almost 45 minutes here. 18, Mekhi Lemon, for me, is the third best wide receiver in this draft. Now, obviously, he was the best wide receiver in football last year. But I think just for the draft standpoint, it's not completely about the player that they were last year. It's like how they were through their whole career, what they are projected to be in the NFL, who they are as a person. Like, all these things play in, and he's apparently not this great of a person. Like, and I think his size plays a role into it. Being 5'11" is not the end of the world. It's not a wide receiver. Having short arms, not the end of the world. Smaller hands, not the end of the world. Like, you obviously don't want it too small. You don't want too small of hands. You don't want too short of arms. Like, there's obviously like a limit to it, but it's not like the overall, like, hey, this guy's 5'11", he'll never work on the outside. Like, it's not like that. Now, this guy gets in the end zone. He gets in the end zone a lot. Last season had 11 touchdowns. 11 touchdowns and 1150 yards. So yeah, he's a baller. Kind of weird that I have him this low. I would probably, I expect him to go probably to the Rams. Probably to the Rams. I think unless Tyson magically falls, and then the Rams just decide, hey, we want Tyson instead just because of his size. But I think they could go between either of those two. 17. One of three safeties, and is he one of three safeties in the entire thing? I think he is. Yeah, he's one of three safeties in this entire thing. Dylan Dieneman. Let's see his stats real quick. Forced fumbles 0, 2, 0, sacks 1, sacks 0. So from a turnover aspect, it's not the best. Like 2023 Purdue, 2 forced fumbles, 6 interceptions. That was elite. But like last year at Oregon, 2 interceptions, no forced fumbles, 1 sack, 92 tackles. That's great. I was just watching somebody yesterday, and they were explaining the difference between Dylan Dieneman and Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, and there's like this slim little difference between one of the stats, and it favors Emmanuel McNeil-Warren just a tiny bit, and I think that's why I have him, because I have Emmanuel McNeil-Warren at 16, Dieneman at 17 here. I think because back at Purdue, he played more of that sky safety, and he was moved into like the box with Oregon. I think he's much better as a sky safety, and I think wherever he goes in the draft, they need to focus on getting him as a sky. Obviously said it. 16, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, just a guy like I see him as a predator. Like last season, had 3 forced fumbles, half a sack, 2 picks. Just a guy who's all over the field. Went to Toledo just like Quinyon Mitchell did. Was teammates with him. But another thing, he's 6'3.5", 200 pounds. He's huge. Nicky Minwari size. Thieneman's only 6 foot and an eighth. And Downs is 5'11" and 5/8. So they're both like 6 foot. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is 3 inches taller than both of them and can hit like a train. So that's why I like Emmanuel McNeil-Warren at 16. 15. I have Jordan Tyson, my second wide receiver. Good size, very good size. Also, like Denzel Boston, needs to work at the catch point. They're both like those jump ball X receivers, like, and I just think they need to work on that catch point type of thing, the strong hands. Like you look at a guy like AJ Brown. Obviously, I'm an Eagles fan. I watch every game. I see AJ Brown, excluding that playoff game, where he had those drops. He typically has some of the best hands in the league, and he has strong hands. He'll grab it out of the air. He grabs the ball out of the air. He doesn't let the ball come to him. He grabs it out of the air. And that's something you would like to see from an X receiver. I just don't think it's completely there yet, but that can be learned. And then Tyson obviously has to stay healthy. 14. Jermod McCoy. I wish I could have seen him last year. He ran a 4.37 at his combine. There's obviously some concerns on whether or not how long he'll be out, because he has to apparently get another surgery, and that's going to knock him out for a couple months, or maybe he misses half a season, maybe he misses the whole season, who knows. I think just no matter what, if you're willing to take a year without him, like obviously if you use a first round pick on a guy, you want him to make an immediate impact. And you don't want to waste a year of him either. Like you don't want to draft a guy and be like, oh, we used a first round pick on you, like we can use the 5th-year option, but we're only getting 4 years out of you because you're coming in injured. Like, that's not something you really want. So I think, like, maybe that could get him down into the 2nd round, which I would hate personally because I think he's just such a great player that he deserves to be in the 1st round. But just certain circumstances might push him down. Like, it happened to Will Johnson last year. I think Will Johnson was so deserving of being a 1st-round pick just of how good he was. And he just kept falling and falling and falling because of this pre-draft injury. And I think that's something like the NFL takes very seriously. But I have him at 14. 13. My number 1 receiver, Carnell Tate. Very smart in zone coverages. Can beat a zone. He obviously did not run fantastic at the combine. He ran like a 4.5. But I think he's faster than that. Like, in game time. Like, pads on, everything. Like, it feels like he runs a 4.4. Like, just watching him. Like, he's an Ohio State receiver. They almost always work out. The only one I have not seen work out fully yet in recent years is Marvin Harrison Jr. And Marvin Harrison Jr. had to deal with an injured Kyler Murray and an incompetent offense around him. I mean, yeah, he didn't help with anything, and that's not a good sign. But I think moving forward, Marv will do very good. But talking about Carnell Tate, I've seen a lot of people say he's like Chris Olave, which honestly, I see it. I think he's just a taller Chris Olave, reading those zone coverages, beating zone coverages, beating guys over the top. Like, I think that's the kind of receiver. I also see a little bit of Terry McLaurin in him. Just the way he, like, goes over the top, takes off the top of the defense. That's Terry McLaurin for me. That's where I see that in him. So, yeah. Carnell Tate at 13. 12. Spencer Fano. I don't even know what we're going to call him. Offensive line. Spencer Fano. Not offensive tackle, not guard, not center. He plays everywhere, apparently. I think he has the most experience at tackle. He played left tackle his first year, and then he moved over to right tackle. Or no. I think it's the opposite. Started at right tackle, moved over to left tackle when Caleb Lomu got there. But, like, combine, he was doing center drills. He was moving, like, he was projected maybe he's going to be a guard. So, I think he can play anywhere, and he loves the game of football. So, he'll do anything for a team, whoever drafts him. 11, Francis Mauigoa. He's my number 1 offensive lineman. Not offensive lineman, my number 1 tackle. He's another guy that can move into guard. Could play guard, can play tackle, has that versatility. Not like he a little bit below average on the arm length, 33 and a quarter. Obviously, you want it to be over 33. That's like the standard. But like closer to 34 is probably better. But it's not the end of the world. I think that's why they're saying, hey, he might move into guard. I think if a team like the Giants potentially takes him, he could move to guard with you. You have Illuminor there. He just got his contract. He's going to play tackle. And then you can slot Mauigoa in right away at guard. I think that's something that could work. But I have him at 11. Number 10, best corner in college football last year, Mansour Delane. For me, I like Delane. But he's not, like, the best corner I've ever seen. He's not. He's not going to come into the league. Well, I don't want to, like, talk bad on him and say, oh, he's not going to do this, not going to do that, or he's going to do this, going to do that. But I don't expect him to come into the league and be the best corner in football. Like, I've seen guys, like, Pat Surtain, when he was drafted, I'm like, hey, this guy's a dog. He's going to be good. When Sauce Gardner was drafted, he was like one of the best corner prospects ever. Derek Stingley. Like, these guys were so sought after that they were drafted within the top 5. Devon Witherspoon, another guy. Like, Delane, I think is going to go between 5 and 10. I think he goes at one of those Giants picks or, like, within that range. But I don't see him working out and being that guy that's, like, the best corner in the league that some other top 10 corners have become. Now, I could be completely wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Delane goes and becomes the best corner in the league or top corner in the league. Be fantastic for him. That's just what I see right now. 9. Kenyon Sadiq. I think as of, like, recently, he's kind of gotten, like, a little bit of a fall off. Like, not crazy. Like, obviously, he's still top 20 projected player. But, I've never seen a combine like that. Like, 4.39, 43.5-inch vert, 26 reps on bench. 11.1 broad jump, being 6'3", 240 as a tight end, running a sub 4.4. Like, I have not seen a player, like a tight end, this good and this athletic since Kyle Pitts. And Kyle Pitts went 4th overall. I could see Sadiq potentially going in the top 10. I would not be shocked. Like, I expect him more to be later, but if he goes in the top 10, I would not be shocked. He's my number 9 player. Number 8, my top offensive lineman on the board, Vig Ione. From Penn State, guy who is just a complete stonewall. You're not getting by him. Absolute dog. Great personality. Just overall great player. Nothing more I can say. Just great player. Number 7, Bain. Ruben Bain. It's kind of sad. He was like a potential number 1 pick, and then like Mendoza happened, like won Heisman, won the Natty. Then he was a number 2 projected player, and then the arm length came out, and then he drops. And now this accident, I don't know what it is. Whatever it was, happened. And now he's like, oh, this guy's not going to go top 5. Not allowed to go top 5, pretty much. For me, he's my 7th best player. I think he dropped a little bit because of the arm length. Just specifically because of his play style. I've seen his tape, and he does not fare well against a tackle who has a very good kick step. He doesn't. As soon as a tackle has a good kick step, he's bottled up. Stuck. Can't do anything. That's something I see. But I think, like, if you turn on the rest of the tape that's, like, not those good kick step tapes, he's incredible. One of the best defensive players in all of football last year, all of college football. Like, you don't see a talent like that. Like, it hurts me to know how short his arms are. I wish that just didn't come out, because he would be the number 2 player off the board if that one thing never came out. And it sucks that it's that way, because I think he's still going to work out. I think at the worst, you're getting a guy who can play rundowns. He can play every down. He's not going to be like the elite guy like Myles Garrett, but he's going to be a guy who's going to come in and play every down, play every game. He's not going to get hurt. Like, I don't think he's going to... Well, I don't... Let me take it a step back. We're not going to say that, because injuries can happen to anybody. But he's going to play every down. He's going to play every game. He's going to be decent. Like, in a Madden standpoint, like, if he doesn't work out, the worst he can be is a second to third round graded player, which obviously for a top 10 pick is not ideal. But that's his floor. Like, some top 10 picks, their floor has been absolute bust. Like, out of the league within a couple years. Like, that's not going to be him. I just can't see it. But yeah, that's Ruben Van. 6. I think this is going to be very controversial. But I have Fernando Mendoza at 6. I don't think Mendoza is a top 5 player for me. Like, obviously, he has all the tools. He's got the size. He's got the accolades. He is the Natty. He is the Heisman. Great personality, working with Tom Brady. All this stuff. The guaranteed number 1 pick. He's not my number 1 guy in the draft. Like, obviously, he's going to go number 1, but he's not my number 1 player on the board. I think, like, there's no way he drops out of 1. Like, tomorrow, in less than 24 hours from now, he's going to get drafted number 1 overall. It's guarantee. Like, I would put every cent that he gets drafted number 1. But he's not my number 1 player. I think the quarterback position has gotten a very overvalued as of recently. Obviously, it's the most important part of the football team. Obviously. Like, you can't run a team without a quarterback. We've seen that with the Raiders. We've seen that with the Cardinals. We've seen that the Vikings. Like, teams that have struggled with quarterbacks do not work out. I think Mendoza is going to be the guy. I think he has a great floor. Like I was saying months ago, when Dante Moore was still a guy who could potentially be in the draft, Fernando Mendoza is going to be the guy with the highest floor. Maybe he doesn't have the highest ceiling, but I thought Dante Moore had a much higher ceiling than Fernando Mendoza, but had the floor so much lower. Like, Dante Moore could have been a guy that was going to be a bust. But I don't think Mendoza can be that. Unless, injuries. The one knock on him, I guess, is did not run an NFL-style offense at Indiana. Just ran RPOs. But, Kubiak can cater to whatever he needs. It's his team now. I mean, the offense is not, set in stone. The only pieces that are really, hey, they're guaranteed here for a while is Bowers and Genty. And you can use them in any way possible. But I think Mendoza is just getting the keys to the city at this point. You have Kirk Cousins, crazy NFL mind. You have him there for a year to help develop him, which is fantastic. I think the Raiders are doing everything in their power to make sure Fernando Mendoza has everything he needs, going and getting Tyler Linderbaum, bolstering your defense. You end up getting Max Crosby back, so you even have a better defense. I think the Raiders are doing very well with this rebuild. So I think Mendoza is very good, and it's going to be in a very good spot. Number 5 for me is Arvell Reese. He's kind of like the jack of all trades, but he's not. For me, I don't see a guy who is elite at one specific thing. I think he's a guy that is very good at a multiple altitude of things. And that's why he's not, my number 1 player. He's not my number 2 player. He's not in my top 3. He's number 5. Because we don't know what he's going to be. His, at the worst, you're going to get a pretty good off-ball linebacker. Which, when you're drafting him, probably number 2 or number 3, is not what you want. Now, if he does work out, he's like a Micah Parsons-esque player, which is insane. So that's why he's so good. Like, he was elite at Ohio State last year, but it was also his first year starting. He doesn't have a lot of experience, so it's going to take him time. But I think Arvell Reese is a very good player, so I have him at 5. Number 4, his teammate, Sonny Styles. If you had asked me before the combine, before I really started like getting down on that film, watching these guys, seeing what's going on, Sonny Styles probably would have been 15 to 20 range. Like, I knew Sonny Styles. I knew he was good at Ohio State. I knew he was a safety before. I knew he moved to a linebacker. Like, I knew the basic things. But I didn't know how good, how athletic, how crazy of a guy this is. How smart. Like, every guy in that Ohio State defense is insanely smart. Like, I have a buddy over at Ohio State. So I'm starting to follow them more, and like, just the way they run that program is insane. Like, Ryan Day is one of the best coaches I've ever seen. Just like hands down with how he runs everything. So yeah, Sonny Styles, just based on that combine performance, is number 4 for me. Number 3, David Bailey. Best pure pass rusher for me. Worst case scenario is a bust, really. Like, that's why he's not a blue chip prospect for me. Because he's not very, like, he can't play rundowns, really. Like, he just can't. And that's, I think, where he's gonna, I don't want to say, be, not as highly good. I don't know how to word it, but I think he's going to still work out. With that being said, I think he is going to go number 3 overall. I just think the Jets canceling his top 30 visit is telling me he's going number 3. To whether that's the Cardinals, because I think the Cardinals want to solidify the edge rusher, so I could see them going David Bailey. I could see the Titans taking him in. I could see, maybe if he goes 4, say Love goes 3. Definitely see him at 4. I think 4 is really his floor. The lowest he'll go. Or I guess technically that's the ceiling. I could see him at 2. 2 is really where the draft starts at this point. I've heard it a million times over the past 2 weeks, where 2 is the one is where it starts. But yeah, I think David Bailey's probably 3rd. Number 2 is Jeremiah Love for me. He's one of the best running backs I've ever seen in college. I obviously saw Saquon. I wasn't able to watch Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is known as probably the best running back in college football history. I've seen highlights, but I never got to see him live. I saw Saquon live. Live TV, not at the game. I saw Ashton Genty. I saw Jeremiah Love. I saw Bijan. I saw Jahmyr Gibbs. I saw these guys that were so good in college. And he's one of the best. Outside of that Genty season, he's probably the best. I mean, Bijan, obviously, freaking nature. Saquon, freaking nature. Jahmyr Gibbs, no, out of college, I didn't know if it was really that Bama system that made him work. But then I see him with the Lions, and it all makes sense. So Jeremiah Love at 2. Finally, number 1 player in the draft, for me, is the safety, Caleb Downs. He's been one of my favorite players in college football for years now. 3 years now. Since he was at Bama. Since he was a freshman at Alabama, he was probably one of my favorite players in all of college football. And then he transferred to Ohio State, and I got to see Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Smith on the same team. My two favorite players in college football on the same team. It couldn't have worked out better. Now, I think Caleb Downs' only downside is his size. He's about 6 foot, maybe a little shorter. Maybe that's something bad. Like, we typically see, like, linebackers more, but, like, when you're, like, 5'11", 6 foot, your shoulders deteriorate more because you lead with your shoulder. Like, going back to Sonny Styles, a big thing, like, for him is that he's 6'5". Like, you don't see that working out in the NFL as much. So I think that could be a knock on him. But, like, Downs, one of the smartest players I've ever seen. Like, no wonder he went to Ohio State for football. But, so overall, that's my top 50. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Tomorrow, going to be dropping the final mock draft right before the draft. Hopefully I'll get a video out going over the whole first round. Hopefully the second and third round too, and everything after that. Trying to be more consistent with posts here. Hopefully I don't go on that like break I just went on, whatever. Again, I want to keep getting content out to you guys. Once the draft ends, it's going to be less content, I guess, but hopefully I can get a video in weekly. Maybe a couple videos in a week. But overall, thank you guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Like the video, subscribe to the channel.